Yeah, I do paintings. Yeah, I have exhibitions and stuff. I had one at the Royal Albert Hall. I did some watercolours. Yeah, it went quite well.
What of?
Lots of different things, actually. Quite surreal, quite dreamlike, quite beautiful, hopefully. Yeah, it went really well. Damien Hirst bought a couple, so I was quite pleased. Sold some. You should go on my website, check them out.
The Mighty Boosh, what did you love about it?
Julian Rich. I loved doing it because it was like a gang, there was a gang of us, and also it was the first thing that we really did that was significant in comedy. I mean, I did some stand-up before, but when me and Julian got together, our double act really works, and I think double acts are quite rare. They're like unicorns. There aren't many of them around, so to be in quite a successful double act was a nice thing, There was maybe Lee and Herring around at the time, Dick and Bob, Mitchell and Webb. There aren't many, so it was a nice sort of thing to do. Nice to work with someone else as well. It's like a marriage, but then you sometimes get divorced. We didn't fall out though, and I think we'll probably do something again together, hopefully.
Are you going to? I was reading that you might do a film of it.
Possibly, yeah. That's what we always wanted to do, and we got sidetracked. Ended up doing TV and radio and live stuff and festivals and a band and books. We never quite got around to doing the film, which is a real shame. So, hoping one day we'll get to do that.
And I love the story of why it's called the Mighty Boosh.
Oh yeah, my brother and his friend said, my brother used to have really curly hair, and his friend said, "You got a Mighty Boosh." It was like from Portugal or somewhere. Yeah, I overheard that conversation. But we just didn't want to be called Barratt and Fielding. That sounds like solicitors. It's quite bad, Barratt and Fielding. Sound like estate agents. So we thought the Boosh is quite cool. It's like the Goons or the Goodies or something. Yeah, it'd be a bit more street.
And then what about doing things like the IT Crowd? What was that like? That's such a big show as well.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, obviously Graham Linehan's amazing, who wrote Father Ted and the IT Crowd. And Richard Iwaddy's a really good friend of mine who was in it. But if Graham rings up and says, "Do you want to be in this? I've written it," you're going to say yes, because he's one of the great comedy writers. So he had an idea for a goth, but he didn't really have the voice. So I sort of said, well, I was thinking of making him very posh. I was going to base him on like Pink Floyd, There's a really funny video live in Pompeii, and it's Pink Floyd in the 70s, and they're all sort of rather posh, but sort of quite softly spoken. They're all at Abbey Road, sort of talking about apple pie and all these sort of weird sort of things. And I just thought it'd be quite good to base Richmond on that. So yeah, once I had the voice, he loved that, and then we sort of just, the character was created, and then I had lots of fun doing that. It's nice to be in someone else's show.
And like, never mind Buzzcocks, I really loved that bit when your head was sticking out the table.
Was that with Paul?
Yes!
It was with Paul. I love Paul. He was my favourite guest ever, because he was just so anarchic and like a child, He'll go with any situation. He's one of the most underrated comedians around. He's so brilliant. He should be a household name, really. I directed one of his shows for Edinburgh. It's quite hard to direct. He never listens to you, but he's so good, why would he? But yeah, he's a good friend of mine, but I don't see him often enough. We go for tea and cake occasionally.
I'll tell you about that afterwards. And so what was it like doing that then? Was it uncomfortable under that table?
No, it was alright. I played a character like that in the Boosh. Tony Harrison, who used to go, "This is an outrage." So I used to have to be like that, but for hours. So I was used to it. I built up the muscles in my neck. But that was just like 5 minutes, that was fine.
And then someone was telling me this morning that you did Kate Bush doing Wuthering Heights for Comic Relief.
Yeah, you should check that out on the internet. You look like a Kate Bush fan. Are you?
Only because I was called it as a nickname at school, at primary school.
Right, yeah, I can see the Kate Bush thing. Yeah, you'd like that. Well, when they asked me to do it as a charity thing for Comic Relief called Let's Dance, you had to pick a dance, and I sort of thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I want to make it quite unusual, So I thought maybe I'll do a woman instead, but I didn't want to do a kind of pantomime dame sort of version of Beyonce or something, or I wanted to make it quite real and authentic, and I loved Kate Bush, so I thought I'll do Kate Bush, and I tried to make it as good as I could. And she watched it and sent me a letter, and then eventually we met up, and she put me in one of her videos. So now I'm sort of slightly friends with Kate Bush, which is kind of more than I could have ever hoped for. Did you go and see a show at Hammersmith?
No, I'd love to have done.
It was so good. I mean, it was unbelievable. She's a genius, I think. So yeah, that was really nice.